Oh no, you can, we'll just edit it. Because yeah, I can't record now on this side.
There you go.
Now I
Is that
am.
is that
Would you look
working?
at that? It's working. It's working, and we are live.
I'm trying to find it on your page so I can like
I
see it.
know, same. So I can monitor the comments. We're back, people. We're a little
We're a little
fashionably
late.
late, but
I
time's
don't know
only
about fashionably, but
definitely not fashionably.
yeah, definitely
I
not fashionably.
am in my pajamas. Shocker.
So on your Facebook, it doesn't show that you're live though.
Yeah, it does.
It does? What is wrong
Yeah.
with my thing?
I went to I just went to my page right now and says Maria Jingris is live.
Okay, hold on.
Yep.
Let
It's
me
just
see.
you and I right now. So we'll see if anybody pops on.
Yeah, I can't. That's. I'm just gonna exit it and see if it
Oh,
works.
we've got one viewer. It's probably
Probably
Felicia.
me.
Probably is.
Oh, there we are.
That's awesome. Probably is you.
We got one viewer, me, the one on it with you.
Awesome.
But it's okay. We're not doing this for to have viewers necessarily. We're doing this
No,
because we can't dedicate time to a podcast. So,
exactly. So
in all
this is
truth,
just working better for us.
yeah, in all
And it's
reality.
kind of funny how we can commit more to this than like, all right, we're gonna do the podcast recording this day. It's like, oh no, but we can jump on. We've done more lives in the last 3 weeks than we've
Yeah.
done podcasts the last year. Oh, we got two people. So one of them being you.
Right. Welcome.
Welcome, whoever's here with us.
Yeah.
Um,
We haven't figured out how to see who's here, but
it doesn't like if I go over the eye, and I think it's supposed to be like that, like people can remain anonymous unless they post or comment, like or like it.
gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, I also like doing this live is that well, not that we really edit it during the podcast anyways, but we just kind of go and just talk and people can see like truly who we are, how we are.
Yeah.
Because it's kind
Legit.
of just how we talk anyways to each other.
Exactly. I know. Well, it initially that was like our plan when we started with the YouTube and everything, our raw, authentic chats. But yeah, it doesn't get much more raw than when you're doing it live.
Raw, baby.
Raw. We keep it raw. We already lost that other viewer, so it's just you and me.
Yeah. I love it. So,
And we lost them. Well, in the meantime, I'm gonna let Sonic out because he's knocking at the door because this
yeah,
is what he does. I tried to make him go out before this, but why would we do that?
of course. And it is Thanksgiving Eve.
It is.
And we had to do it tonight because yesterday you discussed grief, which I feel like when people watch this, if you're trying to learn more about grief or understand it or having difficulties even feeling your own emotions, I highly encourage you watching Maria's live on grief, which was 11/26, 2024 in this planet Earth.
In this planet Earth.
In this planet Earth.
In this reality, anyways.
But
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't, it's not just because Thanksgiving is later. One, I've never been a huge Thanksgiving fan. Anyways, like I don't know if it's because I don't like the food or I don't know. I always wanted to like go to like there's this place in Plymouth that you could actually go and like pick the Plymouth plantation. You could actually like eat there. I've always
Mhm.
wanted to do that, but never did. So I'm, I'm not privileged enough, I guess. But what I've come to like, I guess, I don't know, learn is that why do we have to have one day in specific that we're super grateful for? Why isn't it just every single day or every moment or every time we're like aggravated? It's like, hold on, let me think of something I'm grateful for. Not to dismiss that I'm aggravated, but like, thank you for this anger, right?
Yeah.
Why does it just have to be one day? And even even the energy about this day isn't really what it is,
Correct.
like the history. So even when I learned that, I'm like, what is the fucking point?
Right.
Like the history is not even like real.
Right.
Like doesn't mean I don't want to get together with my family, but like,
But it's built again, like so many things, on a lie. Yeah. And that's like what I was like, I kind of briefly mentioned that yesterday, how when you start to really understand and understand the matrix and all of the lies and the deceit, and realize that what that holidays are just another realm of that, of lies. It's like, for me, it just, and I think for my previous other half too, it just made us hate the holidays even more, because it was like, well, now really, what's the point? If it's all a lie anyways, then why are we doing this, right? It was funny because I was thinking about some of the things that I talked about yesterday, and just even my own perspective of holidays, and like, I feel like we just do it because that's what we do. Do you know what I mean?
mhm.
And I feel like that's why there's so much anxiety around it too, because it's like, are we really authentically doing these big lavish gatherings because it's really what we want to be doing? Or is it
Yeah,
because it's expected?
that's so true.
And that is like, oh, Matt's here.
Hi, babe.
He's probably our second viewer. Love you, Matt. Let me get my dogs.
Yeah, I even in like August, the decorations were already coming out for Christmas,
Oh,
and I like couldn't understand it. And I think it was Matt, I told her, you, but like their society is keeping us in a rush. Like we're not actually able to stay present because where something is always in our atmosphere, rushing the next holiday, pushing for something else. Like the sun is still out, guys. It's still warm out. Like it's still summertime. I can still smell the barbecue, but you're having ho 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 and like dancing turkeys and everything. It's like that's 2 months from now. What happened to Halloween? Like there's just so much like I love that you said it doesn't feel like real. Like it feels forced.
yes.
And
And
that's why
then,
people are anxiety.
right. And it's like, that's what I feel like I was even being shown yesterday, when I was being shown everybody's like uncomfortable emotions in their different family settings.
Mm.
And it's almost like how in the past, oh, it was when we were watching that twin flame thing, and we were like being shown everybody's perspective.
Oh yeah.
Like and it was like the same thing yesterday. I'm seeing all different people's perspectives or experiences with the holidays. And the common feeling that I was feeling from everyone was like, "Oh, I just don't even want to be here." But there was guilt that drove them to go there. Guilt because it's a family gathering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I just started realizing, like, I mean, we talk about it all the time, how programmed we are, but like literally just how programmed we are. Like, so this is how they tell us we celebrate our holidays. So that's just what we do. Like, I know for me, I grew up, how I mentioned yesterday, in a very family oriented, let's do holidays together. But like any family, there's always dysfunction at it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like there's dysfunction every day in the family life, and then you throw us all together in a social setting, and it just like amplifies it. And I just feel like the majority of people just doing it because it's just what is expected of us as a collective.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just one aspect of how we as humans do that in so many parts of our life. Like, where, and it comes back to like us talking about intention. What is the intention of why we're doing what we're doing? Is this a programmed program? And I just do it because it's what I've been conditioned to believe is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when you start to feel your emotions and feel in your body, you're like, I don't really feel like doing this.
I'm thinking of this. I don't know if I sent it to you, but I think it was on TikTok. I saw it, but it was this guy and he was talking about how our culture is like we grow up and we're forced to, or we have this expectation upon us, like go to school, get this job, buy a house, buy this, have children, blah, blah, move out of your house, like your family house, buy this. And it's like he was talking about it, how it like broke down. I'm gonna butcher it, but like that it's like a program that separates us from the lessons we need, which come about from living with your family, like growing up and being with your family.
Yep.
And that, like, so everyone has like 10 mortgages or 10 different, like have to pay for 10 different things when really, like, back in the day, families stayed in this like one little hut for long periods of time to like learn and grow crops together and like learn together and like help each other, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then over time it's like I got to move out and then like I got to struggle and then I got to be stressed. So it's also like the pressure of the holiday. Ooh, people get 2 days off, right? So everyone goes out, gets smashed Thanksgiving Eve, right? Like,
Yep.
let's
That's probably where
party,
all our viewers are.
right? It's
Everybody
okay.
is today. I partook in that for many.
I used to too. Yep.
I was actually thinking about that yesterday. I was like, oh my God, I remember like Turkey Day Eve. Like so excited about who am I gonna see? Like, and then after like high school, it was like you wanted to like run into all the people from high school and see where everybody was at. Kind of, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that that was fun. That would so not be fun for me
I
now.
think I avoided where I knew people from high school would be, honestly.
That's awesome.
Like, honestly, like, yeah, I think I avoided. Like, I was like, nope, not going. Nope. Sorry. Congresswoman. Um,
Sorry, not sorry.
but so then when it comes to Thanksgiving, we're put back into that unit when maybe we haven't even like talked to half those family members if you have a big family or for a while, or like because you when you live with people you're more engaged into understanding what's going on with them, right? Like you work together, you do chores, you do things together. And then when you're forced to like separate and do all these different things, it's like when you come back, it's I feel like it's also the anxiety of like I have to catch up, I have to speak, but if I also don't really want to because it's my one day of not having to do anything,
Mhm.
but I'm forced to like socialize, it's like, dude. So we just
Yep.
shove our mouths, gluttony, we just shove our bodies with something because it's a little uncomfortable, you know? So
Agreed.
gratitude.
Gratitude, attitude. Totally. Sonic.
But the reason why I really wanted to like do the live today wasn't just to like talk about the societal, like, stuff on holidays, but more so I was sharing with Maria before we like decided to hit live how it was November 25th, 2021, because that time's an illusion. I forget the actual year dates. When was my last Thanksgiving that I worked. And so that was another reason why Thanksgiving has never like been something that I'm super like connected to. Because once I started working, like I started working for 2 jobs at 14, I've always worked on like Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Eve, like
Yep.
always. Because even if you work in retail, like Black Friday, you go in, right?
Yep.
Like, or nursing, bartending. Like, so I'd be the one serving the drinks. I'm too tired the next day, or I'd be working in the hospital, or you know what I mean? Like, so I never actually like was able to settle on Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
And then I had the gift of leaving the nursing fields because Matt tells me, don't stop saying fire. I'm like, you're right. You're right. Words are power. Words are power.
And you were gonna
So
go anyways. That was just the
I
final
was,
push you needed.
yeah. And so it was just like, I remember that Thanksgiving, I wore like a turkey on my shirt. I made a video and I gave people like turkey blankets, knowing it was going to be my last night. It was like super nostalgic, but the other day I was just kind of sick because I didn't realize it was the 25th. I was just sitting there like, and this whole last week, I felt so like grateful. Like not even just like, oh, I'm grateful for life. It's like I've been feeling this like deep like joy for even like sadness. That sounds weird, but I've been feeling this deep,
I
well,
totally
you get
understand.
it. You get it. Watch the grief video yesterday, peeps. I've been feeling this like joy for just even like looking around. And so that's gratitude,
Yep.
right? And it's like I've been reading like this book, Opulence Infusion, A New Faith Currency. And then people have given I'm reading 4 books at once because that's how my mind works. Yeah. But it's interesting because all 4 of them, it's like they're a lot. Like they talk about the same thing. So I read like a chapter and I go to the next book and I'm like, ooh, it talks about the same thing. But it's all about feeling the inner wealth and then raising your vibration, which is your consciousness, to a state of receiving that wealth, right? Because wealth is literally health, joy, balance. Wealth is also being aware of your emotions, not being overcome by them, but being aware of them. Like that's
Yep.
wealth, right? Because
Yep.
we came here to experience that. And I've just been like super like feeling just, I guess it's wealth, like just this like love for life. And
Like abundance is the word I just heard too,
yeah,
which is synonymous with health. I have to let the dog out again. Continue
yeah,
your.
go ahead. And then the other day I was doing a bunch of readings, and actually probably the last 2 or 3 months, I've had a lot of people come to me for readings where they're not happy with their job or specifically their job, and a lot of them are in healthcare, and a lot of them are nurses or administration with healthcare, and it I don't want to say it breaks my heart, but it helped. I have even more empathy for them because I can see what they're going through fully because me and you have been there.
Yep.
And the people are becoming more awake to the illusions we've been in.
Yep.
And it's causing so much stress with them. So now it's like I have this new layer of gratitude of like, oh my God, I can see these people where they're at. Like I can see them, right? And I didn't have many people to see me. I mean, you didn't like, I was talking to my friend Sophia about this yesterday. Like it was like me and her are the only people that left the floor because we didn't want to put something in our body. So it's like we were bullied. And so it's given me this new sense of like appreciation for life that I'm in this position I am in now to support people or just to listen to them and actually hold that space because like I know what it's like to not have that space, but I know it was like when I had people like you that were able to hold that space for me and you and I for you. And I'm like another fucking layer of abundance. Like, whoa. So like that's why I wanted to like do this live for gratitude, not just for Thanksgiving, but it's like people like, oh, gratitude, Thanksgiving. Yeah, grateful. But it's like
Right.
every fucking day, there's something to be like grateful for, like feel the abundance of life for, you know,
100%. 100%. I
even if
love it.
it's shitty stuff.
Exactly.
I'm grateful for
Because
the shitty stuff.
honestly, it is that shitty stuff that once you're willing to look at that shitty stuff, that is the catalyst for the growth and the healing.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like what I was saying yesterday. It's like grief has been such a gift, as fucked up as that sounds. Like it has been, because it's brought me also to those same layers of abundance within.
Mhm.
Because when you lose things outside of us, whether it's people, property, whatever it is, money, whatever it is, it's forcing us to go within ourselves and realize, wait, like I actually don't need any of those things or any of those people. I actually don't
Mhm.
need any of it. And that's not I used to think that that was a very like kind of cynical outlook, and it's not. I think tone behind that can be cynical, but the way
Mhm.
I mean it is like none of us needs anyone or anything. We're all already enough, but based on the way society has brainwashed us, right? We're always needing more consumer and needing more love from other people and I am one of those people that has been very needy, like and attached. And once I started breaking free from the attachment, that's what I was trying to say yesterday too. It's like it actually makes the love or the abundance or the gratitude amplify and grow.
Mm. Preach it.
We got some peeps here. Leslie was on, Edwin, Felicia.
We should put that on fuzzy socks.
Legit. I love it.
Unattach into the fuzziness. Be grateful for the
Attached.
warmth of life.
I know. I gotta come up with something that has a catchy name with attachment because every time I like hear myself talk, I'm like, oh, it always comes back to attachment.
Right?
It always comes back to attachment because what's attachment? It's fear.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So it's crazy. Frank,
Yeah. So I'm
hello,
just
Frank. You are a beautiful
hello.
and wonder as well.
You beautiful. Oh, I love that.
I know, I do too. Thank you for that. Anybody that's on, if you want a little sample intuitive tap in from either of us or both of us, just shoot your comment in the thing and we'll tap in.
Yeah. If you want a little, yeah, if you have a question or you just want
Or just want to chat or just want to share anything that you're grateful for or your feelings on anything that you've listened to us talk about thus far. Um, yeah, feel free. That's why the lives are fun because they get to be more interactive than us just posting our podcast or videos of us yapping away.
Mm-hmm.
But this is basically how we do it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
just like this.
So I went to a fair this weekend and I didn't have any readings all day. You already know this. But it was so interesting the way I was feeling. I was freezing, first off.
That's
But
horrible.
yeah, it was so cold. But I was like in this state of like, I know there's a higher reason why I'm here. And I don't, and it was like this, like new, like, and I don't actually need to know why. Like, I just need to know, like, honor that I'm here. And I also know, like, it's good that I know I can't leave because then I'll get in trouble. But like, so I have to stay here. But I was walking around and I was like, if I can't uh give messages, right, and receive an exchange of money for that, then I'm going to go around and I'm going to see all the other people that are giving their own gifts and see if I can like help them or if there's anything that stands out, right? Not help, but like support them.
Yep.
And so I was walking around and it was really cool, like seeing just people with their crafts, like, because it was a craft fair. Like, I don't
Mhm.
even know why I thought like people wanted to get readings, but doesn't matter. There was,
Well, because that crafting is
yeah,
very creative and
yeah.
what you offer is also very creative. So,
Thanks,
you
Ben.
weren't
True.
wrong for being there.
Yeah. And so I was just walking around and it was like, it was beautiful and it was humbling to see the different ways in which people are interacting and selling their stuff. And like, I was seeing people that were like more confident than others in what they like were selling on their table. And I remember the first fair I ever did when someone was like, so what do you do? I was like, well, I like Sakashic Records. And they're like, what's that? And I just remember not knowing how to communicate what it is that like I actually do because I was still in like the nurse, like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur now. Like, how can I get someone to believe me? Like, right? Like
Yeah.
and then it was just like now when people ask me what I do, it just flows. Like there's no hesitation. And then even sometimes I surprise myself. I'm like, oh, I also do that too. Like that just came out. But it like helped me appreciate when I was walking around, like, oh, I've been there and now I'm there. And now maybe I might be a little bit more, I don't want to say above, but like more grounded in
In your knowing of who you
yeah,
are and what you bring to the
yeah.
table.
So it was like I was seeing like the layers of myself when I was walking around and like people's crafts and things they were doing. And it was just like, it was super humbling. And I was like, this is what life's about. Like, this is an experience. Like, I don't have to show up just to make money. Like, this is an experience, Sam. Because sometimes we can get caught up in like, well, this is business, so I need to go and make money.
Mhm.
Well, it's like, wait, I'm my own boss. I can do whatever the fuck I want,
Mhm.
actually. Like, actually.
Legit. Isn't that like such an empowering realization? Like,
Yeah.
God, wait, I am literally the own boss of my own life.
Yeah.
I
I
can
don't have to sit
literally
here
do
and
whatever I
freeze.
want
Yeah.
and
I
my
don't have to sit
business.
here and freeze. I can get up and walk around and like buy some shit. Like, duh. Like it was just this duh,
Yeah.
you know?
And Frank just said, and it's funny, what he said, I was also like getting that kind of thought in my head, just to observe the uniqueness of others, both in their creative ability as well, the ability to interact energetically with others.
Yes. I love it. Always got the chills.
Because the whole thing was an energy exchange for you.
Mhm.
And I've said this to like other people that I'm coaching that are starting to start their own businesses with different healing modalities, and they're in that very beginning phase of like, but what do I offer? Like kind of what you were just saying, right? They're not fully sure yet. And some of them are still kind of attached to, like all of us get that way, attached to wanting to help the most people and right, like, but sometimes just your presence somewhere is healing. Not sometimes, most of the time.
Mhm.
Just you being somewhere and having very simple energetic exchanges with people, you did energy healing, right?
Mhm.
And so that will, I believe, return to you in abundance of finances in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not today, not tomorrow, but it will. It can't
Mhm.
not come back to you. So that's why, like, because Sam and I will text each other when we're like, all right, need a quick tap in, and we'll just go yes or no. We don't tell it. And it's like, and I got a hard yes for her that day. And then she's texting me, she's like, I'm doing no readings. It's fucking cold. And I'm like, she's still supposed to be there. Like, I know she's still supposed to be there. I'm getting loud ringing in my ear right now. And like, sometimes we don't ever even find out why.
Mhm.
And that is where you have to just surrender and trust that you were meant to have whatever experiences came into your life that day, have the interactions you had with the people you did. And there's something, it's like what you were saying. Oh my God, this is experiencing life. Like, I could be home at, watching Netflix all day, also not making money, but I'm here supporting people in their creativity
Mhm.
and shining your light on them. And as someone who loves your energy, I know that anywhere you go, you're a light. You are sending healing to people without even realizing.
Yeah,
And most of us are.
we are. I love
But the
that.
ego part of us wants to know how we helped someone. It's like it wants the validation that our presence or what we provided as a service helped that person, right? That's that ego part. But it's when you just trust and know that, no, I know that it's all beneficial. How could it not be? It's a
Mhm.
life experience. How could it not be beneficial?
Yeah. And there was a woman across from me because we were in like this back corner. So right away, the person sitting next to me was like, "Oh, yesterday was slow. I didn't go to the both days, but she's like, oh, yesterday was slow. I hope today's not slow." And like yesterday sucked. She was like, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna let that get to me. Like, but she was like saying it to everyone in the thing. And then the women next to me who made these really cute like dog scarves and like these pillows things, they were they were being affected by her saying that. And then like I could see the other people being like, I was just witnessing it. And I was like, you guys, if it's really slow, what I'll do is I'll just go stand out there and I'll go, everybody come in the corner. Like, and then we'll just bring people in. I go, but if people are meant to buy our stuff, they're going to buy our stuff. The right people will buy our stuff. There's a higher reason why we're here. And two of them were like, I love that. I was like, yeah. Like, and
Boom.
both of them ended up making a lot of like both of them ended up having a lot of people. And I was just like, they like looked at me like, thanks. I was like, I didn't do anything, but you're welcome. And the woman across from me, she comes over and she's like staring at my sign. And that like I have me and Maria have signs that like tell like what our limitless sessions mean. And she comes over and she's like, the stuff that you do is scary. I go, oh, why do you think that? And she goes, well, because I'm from East Africa and there's a woman there that reads your feet and can read your energy. I was like, that is so badass. She's like, no, that is so scary. Like you can look at someone's foot and know about them. And I was like, well, if you asked me something, I can look at you and tell you about you. And she's like, that is so scary. I don't, no, thank you. And like walked away. And I was like, oh, well, that was interesting. Right. So then I walked over to her and I was like, so what is your stuff? And I was like, see, I don't think any of this is scary. She was making stuff like with bones. Like I was like, this is craft. This is beautiful. And she's like, oh, some people think it's like gross. I'm like, just like you thought that me doing readings, connecting to your heart is scary. People don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
Like they fear what they don't know. And she's like, oh, I never thought of that. So then she came back over and got my card after. I was like,
Mhm.
look at that. Because it was like I didn't take it personally.
Right.
I wanted
Because
to see where
people
she was
are
coming
afraid
from.
of what we
Yeah.
do. 1,000%.
I was afraid before we did it.
I've had many people tell me that,
Yeah.
that the reason they haven't come for a session with me yet is because they're afraid. And I'm like, I know. Of course you are. It's afraid to go into that which we perceive to be unconscious within ourselves, even though it's something we're carrying. And it also can feel, because I remember like before I started tapping into any of this and would be around like mediums, I remember having that thought like, oh my God, are like, did they see everything about me? Like that's what we think as humans, right? Like we don't know, and this is
Yeah.
how we've been again programmed to fear all of this, that it's voodoo and it's witchcraft and it's this and it's that. And it's like actually it's just energy. That's why when people express that fear to me, first of all, I congratulate them for being courageous, for acknowledging that they're afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will explain it in an energy way versus trying to explain it spiritually, because everybody has their own religious baggage or non-religion whatsoever, right? So it's like as soon as that word spirit comes in, I'm aware of enough of where the human collective is at in their awareness to know
Mm.
how to deliver it, so it starts to reduce the fear. It's like it's just energy. Do you understand that your energy? So what I'm doing is just tapping into your energy. And I'm only going to be given what you want. And
Mm-hmm.
I always will tell, because there are, let's face it, there are plenty of practitioners, intuitives out there that are very invasive and are very still coming from wounded.
Mm-hmm.
So I can totally enter and understand why people have a fear of it. And people are afraid of themselves. We're all afraid of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the thought that somebody else might know more than I do about myself, like that, no thanks. It's like, no, it's not that I know more. You're just allowing me to tap into what you're unaware of right now.
Yeah. And if we're getting the messages of something within somebody, it's exactly what they need to hear because it's what's needed for
Yep.
them for their next step of their journey, their
Yep.
next to help them with their experience of life. It's not we're doing it to like shame or be like, well, you have so much
No.
work to do. It's like, oh my God, your 11-year-old you is coming forth with like feeling like not heard because of this situation, but does this make sense? And the person's like, uh-huh. And it's like, yeah, so this is how you love this version of you, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, I don't want to remember that time in my life. I'm like, it's not remembering that time. It's not reliving it or remembering it. It's bringing that little girl or boy you and like loving it into the now to be grateful for life now.
Right. Right.
And they're like, oh, I didn't know that you could really. I'm like, yeah, like let's
Right.
try it together, shall we? Like,
Right. Yes, you gently guide them, and I think, making people feel safe is the biggest. And I think you and I don't think, I know. We're gifted at that.
mhm,
Thank God. I am grateful that that is one of my gifts, because I've had, and I know you too, I've had some of the most hardcore skeptics and people that are afraid of it actually then, you know, dive in and they're like, holy shit. And it's because I've allowed them to feel safe, even while some pretty traumatic stuff might be coming up for them. And I also understand people. It's like what Sam said. It's you're not gonna just get like this bowl full of traumas just dumped at you and be like, here you go. You're
hi.
literally, your soul knows what your human needs.
Yeah.
And the way that she and I set intention is so intentionally, and it's always about what is for your highest and best in your journey moving forward, right? So it's always what your human needs. It may not be what your ego wants to hear, but your soul knows what you need
Mhm.
to start to love yourself more, really.
1,000%. And at
Frank
the end of
said,
that, what?
no, I'm just reading people's comments.
Oh, okay.
Frank said that the hardest group to get this concept across to is the hardcore religious, 100%, because they're so indoctrinated with such an enslaving system of religion. And I can
Hmm.
speak from my own experience. I was raised Catholic.
Hmm.
So it's not a judgment of anybody that has a religion, believes in religion, was raised I was really raised that same way. Church every Sunday, CCD, did all the sacraments, right? And it's just like yeah. So I get why people are so fearful of it. But for me, what has helped that is just explaining it from an energetic
Hmm.
perspective and really kind of taking the word spirit out of it. I even noticed, like, as I've evolved, I use spirit less and less. Spirit told me this, spirit told me that, because I also recognize that kind of sounds like priests that I've heard. Well, God told me this, right? It's like it's me, it's my higher self, or it's your higher self if I'm doing a session for someone, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's you, it's your higher you that's literally giving you this information. It's no
Hmm.
one outside of you.
And I remember, so I also have Catholic background and all of that. But I remember my first mediumship retreat where I was telling someone the story the other day, one of my clients, I think, one of my coaching clients. And I remember they were like, there was nine of us. Yeah. And the teacher was like, all right, we're gonna do healings on each other. I was like, absolutely not. Like, I can't, I'm not a healer. I can't do nope. Because everyone there was like Reiki mastered, had like a practice. I'm still working as a nurse, have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm in this mediumship thing. And I'm like, because I was told as a medium. So I'm going to follow that and see if that really resonates. Right. So I just kept following it. Here I am at this retreat in the freaking mountains somewhere where it's on a farm and like there's no meat or anything. And I'm eating grass. And I'm like, I'm like, where am I? But, anyways, he's like, we're gonna do energy work on like healing. He said healing. That's what like freaked me out, that part.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, I can't. And he goes, do you have a heart? And I said, yeah. He's like, do you have love? Do you love? And I said, yeah. And he goes, and you're a nurse, so you can do this. And I was like, okay. So I was like, I'm not gonna go first. So I sat as like the scribe where you watch with your third eye what goes on. So someone lays on the table, the other group goes around and does healing, and then one person scribes it, so they draw it. So I did that first because it made me feel more comfortable. And I was seeing all this really cool stuff, and like the person on the table like was had the same experience. So then I was like, okay, I'll go next. So I remember laying on the table and I was like, okay, I don't want these people in my energy field because of that one person who told me like I'm an empath, don't just hug people, right? And let people touch you. So I'm laying on this table, like terrified that there's like seven people going to touch me, right?
Oh my God, they're gonna infect me with their energy.
Yeah, because of this one woman who like put that
They
thought
put the
into me,
fear of God in you for
literally
being
because
an
of her
empath.
tone. Yeah. If you guys don't know this story, it was after like my first medium class. I went up to this girl to give her a hug to like say thank you. And she goes, oh, you're an empath. And I was like, what? And she's like, you can't hug me. I was like, no, she goes, I don't want to hug you. I was like, what? So I thought I was like fucking diseased, right? So
Typhoid
that,
Mary over here.
yeah, that stayed with me for a while. So words are powerful, people. And so I remember just like laying on the table and I was like, okay, I call in all of my guides, my angels, whoever you are. I ask you to work through these people so I don't take on their energy. Because I guess I'm this empath. And so I'm just gonna allow myself to go. And I remember I was like all this light open and Jesus was there. And I was like, what the fuck? And he like puts his hand out. I hold his hand. I'm like, this isn't real. Like, this isn't real because Jesus is in the Bible, right? Like, it's Catholic. Like, you don't, why would he be coming to me? Right. So then I'm brought into this like place and he's like carrying me like this. And then I start growing up and then I'm at this like school desk and then Mary comes over and I was like, what the fuck? But the point of it is, I felt so free. Like, I just felt love and calm and light. And then I was like, I can't share this with anyone because they're going to judge me. because of everything that's in religion. I am
Yep.
going to be shamed and like called crazy. Like I cannot share this beautiful feeling of peace that I feel right now. How terrible is that? Like that was my thought. Like as I was
Mhm.
coming back, like I wanted everyone needs to feel this like at some point because this is what this is like it was like love. And so I remember like then they had to shake me to come back. So I didn't want to come back. And then
Typical Sam.
yeah. And then they were like, do you want to share your experience? And I was like, nope, nope. And the person scribing, they were like, what did you get? And they were like, we just saw her leave the body. Like they showed the paper and it was just like this, like two circles. Because I left the body. So they couldn't like see what was happening. And then so now I have to do energy work. And I'm like, Jesus, if you're my boy,
Help me
really,
out.
Mary, help me out. And then, like,
Jesus, take the wheel.
but I just remember that like it wasn't like I was afraid to share with people because one, why are they coming to me? Right? Two, I'm fucking nuts. Three, what is that feeling and why don't I feel that all the time? And like also I was like, wait, was I feeling that because of these people? Am I giving was it so it was like, can I only ever feel that if I have these people near me? Like there was all these thoughts,
Thoughts, like, yep.
right?
Trying to
So then
figure
it
it out.
yeah. So now when I work with people and they're like, when they connect to like guides of like higher caliber, they don't feel worthy. They feel judged. And I'm like, I gotta share the story with you because like we're all worthy because they're us. They're fucking
Exactly.
us. They're an
Exactly.
aspect of us, you know? I have to let Lily out. Hold on.
Go right ahead. I love that you shared that. Um, and I've had similar experiences, as you are aware. I'll wait till you come back because I know that you have ear pods that you listen to this. So I'll just wait for you to come back. And you're back. Hola. I
Hi.
waited for you to come back.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because as you were sharing it, I've had very similar experiences. Mine was with Isis, as you probably recall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you were one of the first people that told me she was like one of my main guides. And I was like, why do I never see her? Like, I don't, Isis, I'm like, Sam's right about everything, but she is not right that Isis is my guide because I've never seen her. Like, she's right about everything else, but Isis is not my guide. Isis is too powerful because that was the story I had in my head that
Yeah.
she was this fierce feminine powerhouse that I didn't see myself as. And it wasn't until, oh God, I think it was now a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years ago, that she showed up and I saw her for like the first time. I think it was 2 years ago. And it was in a meditation. And I just remember like this lion's mouth opened and I was just like traveling through space. And then she showed up, or who I believe her to be. Like, because I want to mention this too. Like, I don't know if like Jesus to you looks like the Jesus society told us, but like it's not.
No.
When I connect with these energies, they look nothing like what we'll say the Matrix has painted them as.
Yeah.
It's
No.
like not even not even close. So I think that's also important to mention to people as people listen to us and they're connecting with energies. Like I believe our higher self knows how to drop these things in so our human self can interpret it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why like my guides will shapeshift a lot. Like it'll become a power animal, then it will become Isis, and then it's like, oh wait, but it's all just me. Like, so like I started teaching my clients, like your guides are you, because I was starting to see people giving their power away to that, just how they do a spirit, because it's how we do in this physical reality. It's always we give our power away to something outside of us. And I started seeing a lot of like spiritual people. Well, I have to consult my guide, like God check with the guides. The guides know the guide. It's like the guides are you. Like you don't see how you're still like actually giving your power to something that you perceive to be external.
Right.
But when Isis finally like she'd been revealing herself to me, I blocked her because of my own inability to see my worth and my power. I did
Mhm.
not see myself as an empowered being or a powerful being whatsoever. And so every time other people would tell me there was Isis energy, I'm like, they're all wrong. They've got it
Because
all
the
wrong.
pedestal. Yeah.
Exactly, because I had Isis on a pedestal that I didn't foresee myself ever reaching. So it's like, yo, she's not my guides, guys. She's not one of my guides. But then there she was. And I was like, oh my God, it's her. And that was when she branded me with the Ankh on my heart. And
Yep.
she just said, are you ready? And I was like, oh, I'm ready. And she was like, no, are you ready? And I was like, yeah. And then she like took it. And then right after that happened, a whole shit ton of stuff happened in my marriage.
Of course.
So just know that when you're saying yes to your higher self, that you're ready for the challenge.
And the joy and
Exactly.
everything.
Look at her. She's like, it's not all. The joy comes with all of it, 100%. That is, to me, the challenge is the duality of it all. Like it's when I say challenge, I don't say challenge is a bad thing.
Mm.
I apparently love challenge. I think we all do, but I definitely love it. I love to take on a good challenge within myself, for sure.
I remember when I would work in the hospital when like someone was like, uh, oh, it was Christmas Eve. Was it Christmas Eve? Yeah. I went into this person's room and I never had them before, but they had been on the floor for a while. And so I was like, why do I have them today? Like I've been working the last few days. I should have the same peeps, right? And I go in the room and oh, because they were VIP, labeled VIP because they give a lot of money to the hospital. And I was like, I don't care what they're not giving it to me. Like no one's VIP to me. Like I'm still gonna treat them the same exact way. Like I'm still gonna be Sam. You don't intimidate me, type of thing. I was like, fuck that. So no one wants to tell me why he keeps bouncing around two nurses. Well, it wasn't exactly him. I go in the room and his daughter is sitting there. And I have on this like Christmas t-shirt that we all made, and my hair is bright pink, you know. I was like, good morning, blah, blah. And she's just like, like stares at me. And I remember her like, I can't, she's like, you have a tattoo and you have pink hair. And what are you wearing? Like, as soon as I walked in the room, like, judge, 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 judge. And I was like, oh, this is why. Okay. And it was like, I remember like I go, I said stuff, and I was just like, listen, because the patient was totally capable of speaking for himself, and she just kept interjecting everything. I was like, I'm sorry, you are not my patient. Your father is. So I'm gonna talk to your father, like point blank. But I remember leaving the room being like, challenge fucking accepted. Challenge accepted. You are going to like me and you are going to appreciate me by the end of these 12 hours. Like, challenge accepted. And you know what she did? I was getting into the elevator and I was like, oh fuck, I could hear her shoes. I was like, oh my God, the shift's over. Like I'm like still 45 minutes over shift. Her hand goes through the
The
elevator door. I'm
elevator
like,
door.
fuck. And I was like, hi. She's like, I'm sorry. I just want to say thank you. I was like, because I'm like in shock. And she's like, I judged you. I am head of HR at this place in New York. And you taught me today that it's not about looks, it's about like what you can give and who you are. And I'm sorry. And thank you. And I was like, yep. And I don't even know what I said. I think I like left my body, but I was like, next thing I knew, I was driving home, like, what the fuck? Because it was a very challenging day. Like the whole family was just like her, very judgy.
Yep.
But like I stayed in it because it was for the patient. Like I want him to be comfortable. You know, it didn't matter if I was uncomfortable, of course. You know,
Never does if you're a nurse.
no, never does. But I
Suck
just
it
remember
up.
always saying challenge accepted. And now I'm like, wait, do I want to accept this challenge? Is this challenge to like boost my ego and to prove to someone that I can do it? Or is
Correct.
this challenge like actually like to
Gonna
serve
help you grow.
self, which then serves others? Right.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because there is a difference, 100%. Um, and that's discernment. It's knowing your intention of why you're taking on this challenge. For me, the challenge is always to be the peace in a very chaotic type of something.
Mhm.
And it's not it's not to prove anything. It's like the challenge is, can you be, so it's fostering my own growth. So then it's challenge accepted. It's like, all right, throw me in with the wolves. Yep, throw me into the middle of the storm. I'm going to anchor in my inner peace and not become it. Now, does that always happen? No. But it is a challenge that I continue to work at. For the most part, I'm pretty confident in my ability to do it. I've recently not been so great at it, but again, that's my multidimensional human. Apparently having wounded parts that haven't spoken in several years that are loud and clear now. So, I just want to touch on something that Felicia said, because this is something that you've gone through, Sam. And I was starting to get like a message. So, Felicia, you're probably still on. I've been feeling disconnected the past few days, but I keep reminding myself that my guides and higher self are all me and I'm them. It's been super empowering and I felt reconnected last night. It felt like those days was a little lesson for me. And so Sam has also said to me in the past, and it was right after you went through a pretty hefty loss. Few times you've said this to me that you're like, I'm so disconnected, I'm not connected. And I'm like, the irony is I'm actually being shown you're more connected now than ever. It's you're feeling the humanness right now. Like you're feeling all of the stuff that the human wants to judge as the guck. So you don't think you're connected to spirit anymore. But when you realize that that's literally what your spirit came to feel in the body and not leaving the body, you're more connected now than ever. So when that comes up for anyone that's struggling and like I'm so disconnected, I would encourage you to ask yourself, are you though, or are you just really feeling a whole shitload of humanness? Because if you are, then you're actually super connected
Mhm.
because you're in your body and you're allowing whatever experiences that are happening for you to elicit those emotions, and you're not numbing out. You're actually allowing yourself to feel it. So then the brain comes in and it starts creating a narrative that you're not connected anymore. And I've seen this happen to many people. So I do love that Felicia said that, because I think it's common for many of us that when we're in a rut, when we're feeling our feels, that we're not connected. When I'm
Mhm.
grieving, like heavy, deep, brutally painful grieving, I am so connected to my higher self because it's my higher self that's encouraging me to do that.
Ugh. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I just got wicked
I have
chills.
crazy chills. And I have like a lot of emotion building up inside of me right now. So I'm like, if I start crying, I start crying. If I start laughing, I start laughing. I don't know.
It's
I don't
all
know what's gonna
good.
happen, but I'm just feeling it right now. And like, because when you were sharing that with Felicia, I was being reminded of all those times and the times that I didn't tell you that I was disconnected. Because I remember you saying to me, "You're always connected. One, like, how can you not be?" And then you must be more connected, and you're surrendering to your human. Like your higher self is holding your human. And I'm like, oh yeah. But I was just, it was like I kept hearing power, power, empowerment. It was like your when we're giving our power to something or we feel like our power is being taken in some way, and I don't mean control, I mean like our energy with stuff.
Right.
um we can sometimes feel disconnected because I've also had times where like I've been just experiencing human, like doing a bunch of stuff that I'm like, oh, I gotta go do readings all day. I'm so disconnected though. Like I'm not gonna, and then I sit down and it just flows. And I'm like, oh, because I was just in, oh, like, it's just like I was giving my attention. So power is the wrong word. I was giving my attention to something else. So it made me think like, oh, because I'm not all high vibing or doing all this spiritual shit, or I don't feel like I'm hearing. It's like, no, because maybe you're just now embodying the knowing that like you don't really have to do anything. You just be the energy. because you've allowed yourself to, and I know Felicia's done a lot of the work. So it's like, for you, Felicia, too, it's like you've allowed yourself to take like a really beautiful, intense look at your journey, like your health and your life and your living experiences and all that. And like, so it's like your attention has been on that because your guides are like, well, your higher self is like, this is what we need you to pay attention to because it's all gonna like shift for you, but we need you to see it so you can appreciate it for what it is. You can appreciate the more like the receiving that's going to be coming in from it. And so it's like you're in this like, oh, I'm in this. The other thing that's coming in, I'm all over the place, but when we're learning to be more in our body, our eating habits change, our tolerance for things changes
Oh yeah.
quickly,
Oh yeah.
quickly. So if we think we can like, oh, I can have that Advil, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, because you've become more like you've allowed more light into your body.
Right. Your
I'm some
vibration has shifted.
Yeah.
Therefore, and this is, I love that you bring this up because this is how like I explain evolution to people. Like that's evolution. Like we are still in this sort of this transition phase of like trying to evolve, trying to heal and fix ourselves when we just surrender to what is. That is the process. And then things just naturally shift within you. And you know, there's so much dogma, we'll call it, rules now in being spiritual, that it's almost become this other religion. And I've seen it as I've gone through this awakening for the last 6.5, 7 years. All of these rules that, well, if you're doing this, you're spiritual. If you're not doing this, you're not like it's, and I'm like, oh my God, that's religion. Like people are missing the point. If you're, guess what? If you're a spirit in a human body, you're spiritual no matter how awake, aware your level of consciousness is in this current avatar, you are spiritual. So everything is part of your spiritual path. Everything leads to enlightenment. There's no part of the human journey that isn't part of being spiritual. But because we live in this dualistic paradigm, we still, even us intuitives, still will separate human and spirit. Well, I'm doing my
Mhm.
human today. And meanwhile, the spirit's like, well, you're also doing spirit today because I'm driving your human body. Like, you doing your human is, guess what? It's you doing your spirit too. It's all one and the same thing. It's so crazy how it's like I'm seeing it, but it's true because we still have the illusion of separation. Well, today I'm just going to do my human stuff. I'm not going to tap it. I'm not going to do any of my spiritual stuff. Like I hear so many people say that and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like a couple years ago I would have like I get what they mean, but I'm like, no, like you don't like whatever you no matter what you're doing, you're spiritual. You're a spiritual being in a human
Mhm.
body form.
Mhm. It's going back to the pressure that we put on ourselves.
Right.
Once
And
this expectation, like, oh, now
exactly.
that I'm aware that I have these gifts or I'm connected, or that like I can have these guys or whatever it is, you have now a new expectation. And that's
Right.
what I had was like, because
Same.
the I remember one of the first times I messaged you about feeling disconnected. It was I was trying to connect with my future to be mother-in-law at the time who was in and out of she was dying. And I was like, Maria, I'm so disconnected. And she was like, because you're meant to literally feel and process and then hold space for the other people too. Like you're supposed to feel these things. And I was like, oh. And then like, I don't remember where I was going with this. Where was I going with this? Um,
Well, I do remember it being one of the times that you were like, I'm not connected to her. I'm like, no, you're super connected to her. She wants you to go through the grieving process right
oh
now.
yes,
That's
thank you.
that's what that's what you doing the spiritual thing right now is doing.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit different than you tapping into her spirit
Yeah.
right now because your role is actually to feel this grief and show her family how to grieve.
Yes, thank you. Because that's what the expectation. Because I was like,
Yeah,
I have put an expectation on myself that I should be able to connect her. And I was, the thing is that I was
you were
connected to her
super connected to her.
because I
Yep.
saw all this fire and you saw the fire and I was feeling the fucking fire. Like I was, remember, I was like, I am so hot. Like I can't breathe. I am so hot. Like, and I was just crying. but like I put an expectation on myself, like I'm the one that can connect in the family. I'm the one that I can do this. And it's like, whoa, I just put my own pressure on myself that really I don't need to be putting on myself because no one else is putting it on me.
Right,
Like, so why am I putting it on myself?
right.
Right. Because it's like, I'm trying to hold on. Hopefully I can control the situation because it's making me uncomfortable. Right. And
Yep.
that's the thing when we feel disconnected, it's usually because we feel we're being called to feel some discomfort, something that
That's what
makes us
it is.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is because there is this perspective or expectation that if you're a spiritual being, you just float around and nothing phases you. That is such a lie. Like it is quite the opposite. Everything has an impact on you because you're so overtly aware to all of the energy. So, but you learn how to ground yourself so it doesn't affect you in this way where when you are unconsciously walking around through it, it does affect you. Like that whole empath story that you said. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that, and you and I have talked about it before, but there's so many people out there that self-identify as an empath, whether someone else told them that or they've just looked up the definition and they're like, that's me. Right. But then very quickly after that comes this victim mindset of like, oh, I can't be around anybody then because I'm absorbing everything. I went through that. I went through that phase of like,
Mhm.
oh my God, I can't be around anyone. And now I don't live in that fear. I now choose to conserve my energy because I'm aware of my energy, what it can take, when it's done taking other external energies. So
Mhm.
I now consciously choose how to conserve my energy, but I'm not in fear of like going out and touching people anymore or maybe absorbing their shit because I also know that if I'm a vibrational match for whatever they're carrying, it's already in me anyways. So they're just going to bring it, they're just going to be a catalyst to bring it up. So it's not even on them. Like so this whole mindset of being an empath and oh my God, I have to go like live in a cave. I can't be around people. I just absorb everybody's everything. Well, that's a very disempowered empath that doesn't know their own energy yet.
Mhm. Yeah. And I do feel like sometimes it's like it makes you question, am I avoiding?
Right.
Or am I like, no, like I really feel like I need to be alone today? Or like, am I afraid of like people sucking my energy? Because sometimes people, that's what they do. But it's
Yep.
also maybe they're meant to because they need it. And I have enough of it. I know I got enough of it. But it's like sometimes it's also like, wait, am I literally just avoiding this? Am I
Hmm?
like that's when the human kind of slips in. And when the human slips in thinking like that, then that's your human. That's not that's your ego.
Yeah, well, it's still you questioning you.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you know why you're doing it, that doesn't come in anymore. When
Mhm.
you know why you're setting a boundary, we'll say an energetic boundary or conserving your energy, when you know why, because you know you so like that little voice gets a lot quieter. Now, I can speak for me, that voice has gotten so much quieter. When it creeps in, I will listen to it because it's me kind of going, all right, maybe this is a fear thing. So
Mhm.
maybe I am maybe not supposed to, but maybe if I do it, if I invite this uncomfortable situation in, it could really be beneficial for my growth. So you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it, right? Because I actually think it might be fear that's convincing me not to move forward with whatever it is or go to this particular social setting. But I know for me, I'm pretty like solid in knowing my energy in each now moment that when things come up, it's like last night, I just knew last night for me, after the day I had, I just needed my own space. Like I couldn't be around anyone. And people will take that very personally, and it literally has nothing to do with other people. It's knowing your own limits. It's knowing where your energetic state is at and knowing that you're probably not going to bring anything perhaps of goodness to someone else because of the state you're in, and whatever they're going to bring in now is just going to like rustle up your state that you've already been in. So it's like, no, this is actually me just like knowing my own energy and knowing what I need right now.
And honoring that.
Right. Which can be very uncomfortable. And it's what I talked about a little bit in the grief video yesterday with Thanksgiving coming up. And I'll mention it again because it's tomorrow. And it kind of goes with like, if you are at wherever you're at on Thanksgiving and whether it's grief or whatever the emotional feeling is, and like you're really feeling like, you know what, I just have to go. Like, honor that. There's gonna be guilt that comes in. There's always gonna be guilt that comes in because we always feel like we're abandoning or we're letting people down because we didn't follow through with the plans or the commitment, right? But when you start living as an energetic being and following resonance, and Lori Ladd is a really good resource that like teaches this all the freaking time. She has helped me understand this and like, but when you are really like just being, like how Sam was saying, when you're just being the energetic being that you are, your resonance is going to shift throughout the day and you're going to be aware of it. And then
Mhm.
the more you follow it, you may look on the outside as someone that is almost scattered or indecisive, when really you're just learning how to follow resonance. We don't know what that even means. We follow what people tell us to do. That's what we normally follow.
Yeah.
We don't know how to follow our own resonance. And it's like what Sam was saying, that as you raise your vibration more, meaning just become more aware, self-aware, and aware of the external world, these things just shift within you. So your pleasures change. The things that you used to enjoy before, you probably don't anymore. The foods that you used to eat no longer resonate in your body because you're holding a higher vibration. So putting something of a lower vibration, your body is going to tell you. And I've been going through that honestly these last few months because since I moved here, I have not adhered to the diet that was working for me in a very healthy way. I haven't adhered to it as much here. And part of it, I can make every excuse in the book, but part of it is just having a very different setup here. I don't have people around me that are living in that same way. And I will say, my husband living in that same way makes it easier when you become your
Mhm.
environment. Like you will become your environment or you'll influence your environment if you're self-aware enough. So, and I've also been in a very like tumultuous emotional states these last few months. So it's like I'm doing the human ego thing and just like grabbing what's fast and grabbing what's easy. And it's like, but my body is telling me that because my body's like, hey, you're already holding a higher vibration. These things that you're feeding your body, they don't like it.
Yeah. I wish we could tell my taste buds that because like I've been eating cheese a lot more
Yep.
and like my stomach and like my but I'm like, all right, taste buds. Or the belief that it tastes good, I don't know, like needs
Right.
to be
Well,
shed.
and that's also like that, even that is in the movie The Matrix because we've been conditioned and told that these things taste good. If you really start to like observe all of that and how all the subliminal messaging and like all of that, you realize like, oh wait, this is actually a programmed belief that I programmed my taste buds
Mhm.
to enjoy this stuff that is loaded with sugar.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
a whole reprogramming. But the more your vibration raises, which again, it's just the more you shed the programs and know who you are, what you're called to do and what your interests are will continuously shift.
Hmm.
And that's very uncomfortable
It
because
is.
that's when you start realizing you're changing. And that can feel like, oh my God, I'm changing and no one around me is, and they're not going to love me anymore. That I went through that fear. And honestly, that happened in my life.
Yep.
It did.
Mhm.
And it really has nothing to do with me though. But I like that was such a loud fear for me that like my husband's going to hate who I turn into. And I pretty much feel like that's where we're at right now. I'm going to be honest. And it's like, but that's not, I again, that's where this journey will feel lonely and you'll feel like you lose people, right? Because they're not maybe growing on the same path as you. This is not to shame anyone. It's
Right.
just they're not growing on the same path as you are.
Mhm. They're in their own path.
Yep.
And even
All of us
yesterday,
are on our own path. Every single one of us.
like we went to the grocery store and I was like, what are we gonna eat? So we're getting stuff to like make cookies. And I was like, oh my God, I want fried chicken. I haven't been able to eat chicken like all summer really. And I
Oh,
tried
dude,
eating,
that's all
eating an
I'm
egg.
eating.
Oh, I can't eat like it makes me want to like, and I used to love chicken. It makes me nauseous. Like within, I get a headache within probably half an hour, like before my body even fully digests it. But I'm like, oh my God, everything is made with fucking chicken though. Like chicken salad, I love, like fried chicken, like chicken ziti pasta. Like I'm like, everything has chicken in it. And so I'm like, still like, I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna try it. And then yesterday, Shaw's, I don't know if people have ever had Shaw's when they make the fried chicken fresh and it's in the bag, it is bomb. Like it just like comes off like the bone, and just greasy. It's like so like clogged artery heaven. And like they didn't have it yesterday. But I also knew I was like, if they have it, I would probably get it, but then I would have like a piece of it. And but they didn't have it. It was my memory of how good the supermarket had like that, how good it is. Once I was like, wait, they don't even have it. I don't even actually smell it. So this is like a memory
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And knowing that chicken makes me feel like shit now, I'm like, what do I really want? I originally really wanted steak. I still want steak. Right. But it was like, oh, I went into a place where I have a memory. So now I want that. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, but your soul, like the only meat you can really digest them is usually steak. So like
And it's
stick with the fucking
hysterical. You
steak.
and I are opposite with that.
Yeah.
Because as you're talking about steak, I want to puke right now. And I used to love a big, thick slab of like prime red. I loved red meat.
I
And
love
that's when
red
I
meat.
realized, I'm like, wait a second. Was when I was at my house in Arizona about to make steak and cheeses for us. And I like took it out of the package and I literally was like, is this meat bad or something? Because I am so turned off by this. And that was the last time I ate red meat. And I was like, wait, so this just kind of happens naturally? Like, you don't have to become a vegan or a vegetarian to be spiritual. Oh, right. That's another rule. That's dogma. That's just a whole nother enslaving paradigm of like, this is what you have to do to be spiritual. And I've met a lot of people on this path that struggle with that,
Mhm.
especially like in my coaching that we go into, it's holistic. So we go into diet. And people have told me that, well, I tried to do the spiritual thing and be vegan and like my body just couldn't do it. And it's like, okay, so let's just rewind first. Let's talk about being spiritual first. But it helps people because it's like there's all this shame that's now coming too from spiritual communities. That's why I say it's like become another religion. Like it's that same energy of like telling people what to do on their spiritual journey.
Mhm.
That no, that's not what this is about. We're all individual spirits on an individual journey. And if we can co-create with people along the path, awesome. But at the end of the day, it's only you on your journey.
Mhm. And I had a person come to me who was like, I just want to like, I want to connect with my guides. I want to connect. I want to feel love. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, so I've recently, I went on a yoga retreat and I met some great people. And then I came home and she's like, and I stayed on my diet. She's been eating vegan. And she's like, but I'm still not happy. Like, I don't feel connected. I don't feel loved. And then I was like, okay, how about we're just going to go back to be like, what is love for you? How about that? Right. Because that's another, right? Like, it's another thing. It's like, oh, I went on this yoga retreat. I'm going to be healed. I eat
Oh God,
vegan
yeah, I
now.
know.
I'm healed. It's like,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
no.
healing is being aware that like you're here to experience life. Like we're not healed ever. Where that's also a program. Like
Yep.
we're here to experience the ins and outs of healing, like whatever, right? That's why that guy, when he said we're gonna do healings on each other, I was like, no, what? No,
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like I'm not a healer. And it's like we're healing every single day we wake up and breathe. Like honestly.
Literally. Literally. Same thing because to me, healing, evolving, it's all like synonymous. Like We're literally all evolving every day. Even if you're not doing the work. We're all in this game that is evolving. We're all part of the collective that's evolving. So whether you're consciously doing that deep inner work or not, we're all still evolving. I used to get so irritated, like just hearing people that are like, and I see the memes still all the time, and I just like, I roll my eyes. But it's like some people are not in your life. Some people are put on this earth not to evolve. They're basically, like an NPC or whatever, like a fake player in your game. And it's like, no, everybody that's here is evolving. Like, you can't not be evolving in a game that's evolving if you're in the game, right?
Correct.
But it's a matter of like how conscious are you becoming of yourself? And to me, that is the healing. The more I know who I am, the more I feel healed
Mhm.
because I don't question things as much anymore because I know who I am. So I know I can trust what's coming in for me. So it's like that is healing. Doesn't make
Yeah.
all the bad things that happened to me go away, but it gives me a whole different perspective and insight and gratitude. So that is the healing. And you're the person you were mentioning, the whole, the yoga retreat and the going vegan and blah, blah, blah. It goes back to being authentic and following resonance. It wasn't working because she wasn't doing it from an authentic place. She
Mhm.
wasn't doing it because this is what she felt in her heart and soul and bones and body that this is what she needed. And this is a really important concept for people to understand, especially as we're all navigating all sorts of different relationships. It's so important to understand that in our individual journeys, right? It's do it for you, not for anyone else,
Mhm.
because it won't work.
Mhm.
You're outsourcing the reason to work on yourself for as a, like something outside of you. So guess what? It's not actually coming from an authentic place within you that wants to feel better in life.
Mhm. I
And
have literally churned coaching clients away,
same,
not for being a bitch, but like in the pre-soul work thing, I asked them, who are you doing this for? If I don't ask them in the consult, it's in the pre-work,
yep,
whatever. And like, who are you doing this for? What is your why? And if they don't put them, I'm not working with you.
same, same. It has to be for you. It's your journey.
Mhm.
And people don't get that. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this for my husband. I'm gonna do this for my wife. I'm gonna do this for my mom. I'm gonna do this for because everybody's telling me I really need help. So and it's like, but do you think you do? Do you want it? Do you
Mhm.
want to feel better? Do you want to feel happier and healthier in life? Because that is the only thing that's going to drive you to do it. Because it's the only thing that drove me to do it. I didn't tap into this journey for anyone other than I was like, I am really suffering and nothing I've done up to this point has helped. So I need a different avenue.
Mhm.
That's why I believe we all have to hit a certain rock bottom to really make that solid commitment to self.
And sometimes the rock bottom is other people telling you that you need to get
Correct.
help or try and
Correct.
intervene. So you
Correct.
you maybe initially feel like I'm doing this because my mom told me. Okay. And when you just said, but do you feel like you need it? Well, I do need to make some changes. Like have been going down a wrong path. Like
Yep.
right. Like,
Yep.
so,
Yep.
because I feel like and I might have stole this from something. I don't know, but or saw it, saw it somewhere, but it was
All
like,
right.
saw it. Um, the two ways to awaken or to start your healing journey, whatever, is either one, having like some major event happen, right? Or two, someone else shares with you their major event and something and drops that seed and awakens within you. Like, so you start doing preventative stuff. Like,
Yep. Yep.
and I will tell you, I feel like I was given a lot of preventative ways before I had my awakening until it was like,
Same.
you're not following it though. Wake the fuck up, Sam. And it's like, oh, now I'm okay. Because I think even before, I was doing a lot of things because that's what I thought was the right thing to do. And since having more time to reflect by not working in the system and actually like being my own boss and having time, I've been able to see all of the ways in which I was like very unconscious to me saying yes and playing all these roles and doing all these things. And I was like, wow. But I looked at it from a lens of like thank you,
Mm,
right? Because I
yep.
talked to some people and they're like, I don't like that girl that I used to be. Well, yeah, there's some things I don't like that I talked about them in the podcast, especially the sacral chakra one. But
We got rail raw on that one.
yeah, but
I
you
think we
know
made
what?
3 episodes.
We did. But I was like, you know what? That girl still needs love because that girl is still an aspect of me that came here to experience. So I am so grateful for that version of me. And I'm grateful for
100%.
the version of me that like maybe was too much of a bitch at some points or too loving or too giving or I'm thankful for it all because that's what connects us. That's what really binds body, mind, spirit is like when you're grateful for every experience and everything that you're feeling. And I'm also grateful that I don't feel a lot of physical pain. I know a lot, and you have, and like I know a lot of people that have physical pain. My partner now, he feels a lot of physical pain. And so I am like so grateful that I don't feel that. But I also am so grateful for, it sounds weird, the fact that other people are feeling that because that means your body is trying to share with you something. Because I
100%.
I like I disassociated from my body like always. So I was just this vacuum of everyone else's like emotions and stuff and like whatever until I didn't know and then I started to feel the pain in my body. I was like, "Oh, isn't this ironic?" Right? Because we all feel things differently, but the pain in the body is like our gateway to what is our soul, what is our spirit trying to support us with,
Yep.
right? What's in a residence with us, what's not. And I'm just like grateful for even having that awareness,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like all of it.
Same. Like, and I've said it a million times, my body breaking was my awakening, and I'm so grateful for it. And now, like, anytime I hear anyone complain about something in their physical body, it's so hard for me because they're not saying it to seek my shamanic guidance. It's like they're just complaining about whatever in their body, and that's everyone in this world. Like everybody's got some sort of physical something, right? Like I'll get on the phone with my mom and like hear about everybody in my family that's got all their physical. It's like mm, if only they wanted to know what it is, but but they don't want to know. So it's just gonna keep growing for them. But then I'm like, but that's what it had to happen for me. Like I had to almost be like incapacitated to some degree to like to want to wake up and go, what is actually wrong with me? Like what is actually going
Mm-hmm.
on in my body right now? What is happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
And that was, when I started learning all the things about energy. But yeah, it's all a gift. And like how you were saying, like your older versions of yourself. Yeah, there's still parts of myself, as we were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
my insecure parts that I can still shame a little bit. Because now what's happening for me is like I'm recognizing how that affected other people. Like that's the awareness I'm having because I'm seeing old insecurities of mine pop up and I'm seeing how it impacts other people. And so there's this little bit of like shame voice that wants to come in, but it's very quiet because the bigger part of me that knows I had to experience that to now experience this, to know, to discern and to understand both sides of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And it like I literally posted, I think I posted it today, but it was about like love, right? And how do you really know love if you don't know fear? You don't know, we only know what they told us what love is. And I can tell you, if it weren't for my mom, honestly, like I don't like she gave me a foundation of what the energy of love is. She always gave me that foundation. And I'm beyond grateful to her for that because it has helped me in this process really start discerning what are acts of love, like from self and other people, and what is actually being driven by fear. Oh my God, like 98% of what people do, they call it love, but it's actually rooted in fear. Same here. Oh my God, okay. But this quote was just, I just want to share it because it's like how we all are like, what is love? What is love? So I can say with great certainty and absolute honesty that I did not know what love was until I knew what love was not.
Mm-hmm.
So just like those former versions of you, you had to live those and know those because now you can have empathy when you see those traits in other people too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, oh, I know where that's coming from. I know what wound or insecurity that's coming from,
Mm-hmm.
which also simultaneously helps you forgive it in yourself and like or accept it in yourself.
And you can see the wounding in others so quickly.
Oh God.
So you don't take it personally. Like sometimes we have to take it personally because it's being personally directed, but also it's like um you can see like their inner child. You can see their inner pain. You can see it so fast. You're like, this is really has nothing to do with me. I'm just that punching bag.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with me. So all I can do is open my heart. Even I might be really frustrated. I'm just gonna like open my heart to them because that's really what they need.
Yeah.
Not me coming back at them and like shaming them for that inner child that's clearly feels Whoa, this is powerful.
Yes, it is because
They
this is going to
clearly
help people tomorrow, is what I'm being shown. What you're
they
saying.
yeah, because they clearly whoever is projecting their own stuff onto you or taking jabs at you or thinks it's funny to like do things or just challenges you, triggers you, um, builds you up and then maybe puts you down. That type of energy, a little dysfunctional. Their inner child is calling for you. They feel vulnerable enough to be with you because their inner child sees you and is trying to have that person see themselves because you have, I don't even want to say done the work, but you have seen yourself and that you are that safe space. You are that light. So their inner child is like, oh my God, I am like trying to be so vulnerable, but like all of my protector parts, all of the programs, everything is like layered on top of it. But like I need that love from that person. So that's that person I need to take at. That's the person I need because that person is going to show me the love. Even if like we can show people love and not be in the same room with them. We can send people love without
Yep.
like we can do it from afar. And a lot of times, sometimes we need to leave a situation when those people are coming at us because it we need to learn to stop taking shit so personally. Like
Yep.
we need to learn. And sometimes I will react quickly and then I'll immediately be like, oh shit. And I'll go and I'll apologize because it's all about accountability. And but it takes courage to one accountable, but it takes courage to connect with your inner child, to connect with you from yesterday. You like it takes courage. And so those people that come into our life or those people that are still there who are like, it's because they need some of our courage. Their spirit is like that person. So it's like an exchange of love, but that person might not be aware of it. They might be unconscious to it.
Yeah.
But that's the power of like when you truly stand in your light, as in your love, that heals, even if the healing doesn't look like anything's happening right then. But it is. It is sending a vibrational energy. It's sending a frequency because when you're in your heart, that thing can move mountains. Like that can be felt across the continent and into the ethers and beyond. And so like imagine what it's doing when you're near people that are just in their own suffering and you're just like, I'm just gonna send them love and not take it personally. It does something.
Yep.
Like, and it can't be put into words. Like when I saw Jesus and I was like, oh, like it
Yeah.
did something to me.
Yeah, you can't because you've released.
Mm-hmm.
You've released your ego essentially, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the part of us that's taking it personally. Our ego is taking their personally ego. Is there wait, our
Your
ego is
ego.
taking
taking
their ego personally.
personally. Yeah.
Yes. Well, think of the word person, right? Ego. Like, so it's, if you can take that pause, that breath, and I feel like this is a good thing that's coming up again before Thanksgiving, because as I said yesterday, depending on your family friend situation, you may be going to something tomorrow you don't really feel like being at, right? Or there may be things that come up, the family dynamics, and you may get triggered, right? Holidays are very triggering for families when they're all just thrown together, right? So if you can take that pause, hear Sam going, don't take it personal. And literally what spirit, my higher self, does with me, I don't have to ask for it. It just started happening. But as you are just starting this, ask to be shown their inner child. I'm always shown people's inner child. Like in the middle of an all out battle, I'm literally seeing their inner child, like in a state of crying, or like, and then I'm hearing the story of that inner child while I'm taking a lashing at the same time. And so while I'm a fairly, I won't say fairly, I'm a pretty non-reactive person, up until a little bit more recently, but I think that's also just my tolerance levels have changed
Yep.
because of what I've been through. So I can tend to be a little bit more what I would call reactionary now, than ever before. But I'm still a very like sound, even when something chaotic is happening, I can still find that grounded inner knowing of me that's like, do not take this personal. Like, and I'm literally seeing people's inner child acting out because they weren't heard at that moment in their life, or they were abandoned, or they, or whatever it was, right? But it's all of our inner children. And we all have a soft spot for children, right? So if you're in a difficult family situation or whatever, interpersonal situation with whoever, take that pause and say, I'm just a player in their game, triggering their stuff. Now, that doesn't mean don't take accountability for your part in things,
Yeah.
because I've seen that happen a lot. Where then there's like not this ability, it's like, oh well, that's all on them. Okay. But then there's also this bypassing of taking our own personal accountability. But if there's really like a situation where like somebody's coming at you or like just triggering you, just take a breath. I always put my hands on my heart because it just helps me feel connected to me, and ask to be shown their inner child. And I guarantee you'll feel what Sam is explaining, this like energetic weight come off of you, because now you're not in this state of needing to defend yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
You're rising above the energy that they're throwing at you. And I can't tell you how many times I've done that, in my life, we'll say many times. And it actually feels way better than playing the energy game that's being thrown at you. Because now I've done that too. And that's so not fun. That is so not who I want to be.
And it's
I
more
don't,
draining.
it's so draining.
It's so
Yeah.
draining.
I'm like, I've never lived like this. I am not going to start living like this now. This is just showing me that I have less tolerance for certain things because of everything I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's showing me now like where I could potentially become a reactionary person. But because I'm so self-aware, I'm like, nope. Because that felt horrible. Like those instances don't feel good in my body to me. And not a fear way. It's a not aligned, this isn't who you are, Maria,
Mm-hmm.
kind of way. Yeah.
I don't know if this has been happening to you, but like I am, I am shown. I don't know if I want to use that word, but like an experience happened literally right before it happened where I'm
Mhm.
shown one way in which I can respond. And then I'm like, wait, did that happen? And then boom, it happens. And I'm like, what? And then I like respond from more of like an aligned, authentic, loving space, even if the other person doesn't want to hear it. But I'm like, wait, I was just shown what was just about to happen. That is so. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Have you ever experienced
I
this?
do, because what you're saying, how you're shown, I feel it. Just like how
Okay.
we've always talked. I can feel it in my body,
Okay.
right before it happens. Like, and
It's
it's,
weird.
yep. But it's like, oh, and I'm not actually reacting. or responding in the same way I would have to a similar situation in the past. What is happening right now?
It's almost like our human goes first and then spirit walks in. You know what I mean? Like it's like
The body
shoop,
goes
shoop.
there. I'm like, wait, is this the evolved version of me, or is this me now like further wounded and I'm now like, wait, what? Yes.
Because I've been also shown me like snapping. And then I remember like it was a couple weeks ago, whatever, but I was doing something and like I snapped. And then I was like, I went in, I was like in my closet and I was like, wait, did I just snap? I don't know. Did that happen? I'm not really sure. Blah, blah, blah. And then like I like messaged the person. I was like, oh, sorry. And then but like then I looked and I was like, wait, I never actually snapped at them. I never actually responded. Like it was like I don't know how to explain it, but it was like
I
showing me
get it.
this was
I
right.
get it.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I don't have to apologize. I didn't actually do anything.
Because that didn't actually happen in this timeline, in this reality.
What? Yeah. And it
Well, I
happens.
almost feel like that's what we're seeing sometimes is these
Yeah.
parallel realities where the situation is happening and how that part of us is handling it, and then how this part of us could potentially handle it or not handle it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's what, yeah, I mean, for you and I at least, that are pretty tuned in, tapped into our multidimensional parallel selves, that's what it feels like to me is like, oh, this is like happening, this exact scenario is happening on one of the other Earths. And is that version more evolved or not? I just want to do the loving thing here. And right now, none of it feels loving.
Yeah, it's been weird. And like, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I had this very intense dream. I'm not going to get into the whole thing right now, but it was in my house growing up, my childhood house growing up. And every single time I have dreams or visions or something, like even when the shamanic journeys, I've been brought there. And I'm like, okay. And then I don't know, time is illusion. Either last week or the week before. That I was back in that house in the world, like my house, like it ended. My life ended. Like I was seeing this major storm and like I couldn't see out the windows anymore. This whole thing happened. I woke up in my bed like and it's like it was this knowing that that timeline, that earth of that you is gone. Like it's over. And I was like, what? And all I've been having now is like dreams of the house I live in now. I'm like, please don't let this one come to an end until like I'm ready, please. Like, because that one was so intense. And like it took 37 years for that one. Like, can we just be graceful here? Because, but it was so, and then I felt this like, I was on this like high after, like, whoa, yet also like feeling like I should be grieving and really sad and angry at the dream, the quote unquote dream, because it was not a dream. I was literally in the other reality. And, but then it was like, whoa, how fucking cool is that? Like, thank you for that. Like, thank you for having me remember that in my waking reality. And like,
Right.
thank you for having
Right.
me close my eyes and experience this or open my eyes and experience this. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, every time you just say thank you or you're grateful, like, I feel like you come more into harmony with like your truth.
Yes. Yeah, and it's so weird you say that because I just started doing that like just within the last few weeks in situations that I would identify as maybe challenging. And next thing I know, I'm literally saying thank you over and over and over and over. Very like not consciously trying to say it. It just starts coming out of my mouth. And it's for me, it's always as soon as I like go like this. Like that is my fastest return to like center, return to self, return to calm within the chaos. It's like, oh my God, I just got to grab my heart. And then I started hearing myself doing that, like, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I feel like you and I too are very similar in seeing the lesson really fast. So it's like even when you're in the challenging situation, I'm like she and I are both seeing, well, this is why. And so like I'm like, I want out, but thank you. Like, oh my God, like thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then as soon as like your cells start hearing that and feeling that, yeah, it's like this just like wave of calm. So kind of like very like divine timing where literally, I mean, tomorrow's Thanksgiving and we're talking, you started off really talking about how like we missed the whole point of the energy of gratitude, and we use one day a year to try to exercise it. But I mean, are people really even exercising it that much on that day? I would argue to say that probably not. We're again just following what we're supposed to be doing on Thanksgiving. But thank you, like, thank the universe for what it's putting in front of you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever it is,
I got chills. Yeah.
whatever it's putting on your plate, whatever it's putting on your Thanksgiving Day plate. Thank the universe for it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for this wisdom. Thank you for this experience. Thank you for this connection. Thank you for this message to go deeper within. Thank you, thank you, thank you, freaking thank you.
Thank you for this food. Thank you for the chair I'm sitting on. Thank you for these people. Thank you for that person triggering me. Thank you for like whatever.
Right, right.
Having feet to like walk myself here, like whatever.
Even if you don't feel it yet in your body and they're just words that you're saying, so what? You're starting to adopt the practice of what it actually means to be grateful for things.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really understand the energy of gratitude, like we don't the energy of love. Like gratitude to me is, it's synonymous with love. It's like the two go hand in hand. You can't feel one without the other one being present. It's like they're right there holding hands together.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you can literally thank the worst thing in your life, and this is Sam and I, when she got cancer, and I basically told her, oh, you're supposed to love it and thank it for showing up. Like,
And I
I know.
did,
And
and it
she
was
fucking did it
intense.
like a rock star. Yes, she
Yeah.
did. Yes,
And
she did.
that was wild. I'm so thankful for that. Yep. On that note, I got a channeling. Um
Do it. Do it before
Earlier.
we end. I just
Uh,
want to acknowledge a couple people that have
yeah,
commented.
go ahead.
Sydney just jumped on, and
Hi
she's
girl.
on a time. And Mary has been commenting a few things along the way as well. I just wanna, the one I can read right now. The guilt of religion is a trip. Like, hey, save yourselves. Self love and boundaries made me not repeat the cycle. The love that my children feel from choosing a different path or many paths is beautiful. It's theirs to live. The best gift I feel that I can give is not being selfish and not dimming their light and spark. So Mary and I go like way back. Our parents were friends.
Mhm.
And I think our parents were friends because my brother was the same age as her sister. So like it was a um so I've known Mary like my whole life. And it's just funny, as I've been on this journey, she and I have really reconnected. And I just think it's beautiful what she's doing for her kids, because she's literally doing the work and shining them to not be afraid to shine their light. And so thank you,
Hell
Mary.
yeah.
Super grateful for you.
Or heck yeah. I say
Heck
hell
yeah.
yeah. Shine
So
your light.
without further ado, Sam will share her channeling.
Right. And Ed said laughter and smiles soothes the 3D distractions, chaos, and bumps in the road.
Laughter is the best medicine. Take it from two nurses.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
So I was doing something earlier, and then it was just deep knowing like you have to go to your computer because you're about to receive something. And I was like, of course, I have to text Maria first before I just let her know. Heads up. Um so I started saying something that I usually don't. Like if you know us, when I set intentions to connect, it's just like highest and best, blah blah blah. So this part I felt like was important to say, maybe for people to repeat or whatever. But before the channeling, I said, we invite in the only we invite in only the highest divine beings of the purest caliber to be with us now. We ask for your wisdom and your love. We ask for your messages to grace us individually and collectively, wholeheartedly and transformationally. We are grateful to be of your service as we learn to play in this field of life, as we honor that everything and everyone is an experience. It is gold and it is true. We ask for your support to anchor in the knowing that we are always okay in all ways. And then I saw all of these golden white light beings coming down. And then I saw Earth, but Gaia, floating up like above our Earth and with all these beings over it. And then I just was like, Then I just started typing. Um, so dear ones, we come through to Samantha for all, for she and for you. However, however you identify you is perfectly true. We come with the message to trust in yourself and look in the mirror with more intention on seeing into your eyes. As you look into your eyes, not at your eyes, but into your eyes. Slow your breathing so you can hear that subtle beating, that beating of your heart connecting you to everything and everyone. You may be just a drop in the ocean, yet you are still the entire ocean. You are meant to change and meant to breathe in the difference on your planet. You are meant to breathe in the pain you feel and bring it into your heart and feel what that feels like, and then transmute it with our help. We come with the great central suns, with the holy amethyst fire, with the angelics, and with the Pleiades energies at this time to harness in the wealth of planet Jupiter and the strength of your soul. We appreciate your heroineship and your willingness to wake each day. We ask that you honor each breath as new. We ask that you welcome each day as new. There are a lot of changes. Some will be more obvious to others. Some will be more abrupt than others. Some will be more life altering than others. We ask that you remember you have a choice. We encourage the choice of gratitude. Gratitude for all that is happening for you. Gratitude and stillness are keys to your health and wealth. Get still rather than run. Get still, not distracted. Get still, not loud. Get still. Breathe and connect. The Emerald Temple is welcoming and it is here. It is here for all those ready to embrace its magnificence and believe in their worth. Each of you are worth peace. Each of you are worth darkness, for it is in the darkness we find the light. Funny, soon you will all begin to remember that you are the dark and you are the light. You shine and glimmer when you laugh and feel fulfilled. Let joy overcome you. Start with gratitude. You are courageous for choosing this journey, so don't forget you have a legion of helpers. Just call upon us. Some of you may begin to see us with your human eyes and or with your unicorn eye. Some of you may begin to feel us, sense us, know we are there. We come in many sizes, shapes, colors, and ways. We always come with love and acceptance, for not to disturb you, only guide you if you allow. Pay attention to the numbers and the signs. They're everywhere. You are one of them. This message is one of them. Mountains are shifting and grounds are opening, shaking, awakening. Waters are spilling and speaking. Remain calm and still and in your heart of gratitude. For you are more powerful than anything that is trying to take your peace. With gratitude, we give to you your signature chalices of gold. These you knew were coming, for your soul always knows. We place them into your heart now. You choose what to fill your chalice with. We ask you to be still and humbled. All that you need is already here. We accept you as you are. We love you as you are. Choose gratitude when in despair. Let the messages become clear. You are always being redirected and realigned. With deep love, we activate your signature chalices now, within your heart now, within your heart now, within your heart now, and always, always fill it up with greatness and gratitude. And so it is done. We love you.
Mm-hmm. Aho.
Amen.
So I closed my eyes for the majority of that, and I just kept seeing a dove riding on the back of a vulture, because you kept talking about like the light and the dark. And then the dove, like, and obviously doves are smaller than vultures. So, like, at first it was like riding on the back, but then it just like the body elongated and like it merged with the vulture, like became one with it.
Mm. That's chills.
Yeah, me too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, this was an awesome little chat, as it always is with Samantha. Thank you
Samantha.
all for all that joined us live and anybody that watches afterwards. Thanks for listening to us.
Yep.
Because
We
we
love
can
you
talk.
long time.
We can
We can
talk.
talk.
We're like exercising several, I won't even say years, but generations of like closed throat chakras. So it's like Yeah, got a lot to say now, but
Yep.
all in divine time.
Yep.
All in divine time. But thank you all for being here. Enjoy your Thanksgiving in whatever capacity you're doing Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Just try to be present. The couple things that I talked about yesterday, the things Sam and I shared today. And yeah, see everybody's inner child. That's what's going to help us start healing as a collective is if we can see the wounded inner child in each of us. And those are the parts that are acting out right now in our adult form because
Mhm.
they were traumatized or they weren't heard, they were ignored, they were neglected, they were abandoned, right? There's so many stories that all of our inner children carry, but there's also a lot of joy that even when we had a rough childhood, there's also aspects of joy in there too that we tend to block out because we hang on to everything negative. So just start seeing your own inner child. I think that's why um in your channeling you said talking about looking like really looking into your eyes in the mirror. I also saw at that point when you were saying that everyone doing that. And do you remember, you'll remember it, that dance monkey video where it
I was
was,
just singing that yesterday.
dude, I was literally being shown like the same thing of like us as adults looking into the mirror and really like soul gazing into our own eyes, which I've done multiple times. And it's awesome. Like it is very transformative. I do it a lot. It's freaky at first,
Mhm.
but I was seeing like people doing that and their inner child appearing next to them in the mirror and them seeing that reflection. So try that, people, because that's probably a little clue that that might happen for some of you. Just saying.
Yep. I love that. I love that so much.
Yep.
We
Well,
love you
I love
guys.
you. I love all of you. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great holiday. And don't gaslight your grief. Grieve it all, peeps. I'll be there with you.
Celebrate it.
That's right. All right. Love yas. I'm getting better at this.